Good morning, everyone. How are you? Welcome to True North. Happy Monday. I'm excited to start the week off. I hope everyone's enjoying the weather. It's getting better, at least in Chicago it is, but I'm excited to be here. I was inspired this morning by one of my amazing speakers, motivational speakers that I follow and I look up to. I think he's amazing, and what he talks about and helps people overcome adversity in life is Inky Johnson. Inky quoted one of my favorite, literally is my favorite quote by Theodore Roosevelt, "Dare greatly." And I've lived and breathed this since high school. This quote, because I wholeheartedly believe that, and I'm going to read the quote to let you. The only issue wrong with Theodore Roosevelt in the quote is that it's called "The Man in the Arena." The title of the quote, it's "Dare greatly," and I would say add woman, but obviously back then, women did not have as many rights, and they weren't highlighted as they are today, and they still need to be highlighted more. But regardless, the quote itself, I live and breathe by this quote. And so I want to talk today, I'm going to read the quote and I'm going to talk today about grit, tenacity, resilience, pursuing your goals, and what it means to be in the arena and to never give up. And so a lot of us, when it comes to both our personal life and a professional life, we tend to give up and throw in the towel. And a lot of the times it's because of the road being really hard and never seeing the light at the end of the tunnel, or feeling like we're never seeing the light at the end of the tunnel, feeling like we've put in the effort and we put in so much time in our life that we end up complacent. We end up not believing that we deserve the best, or that we deserve to achieve our goals, or we deserve true happiness. Not believing that true happiness is available to our fingertips, or that we can achieve the dreams that we want. And I want to talk about what are the strategies and tactics that we can do every day on a daily basis to make sure we never give up, and that we know what we deserve, and that we will literally not rest until we achieve what we want. And it's a little bit of stubbornness, but it's a little bit of staying true to who we are. And so I want to talk about it. So first I want to read the quote. Get my glasses. And I'm reading a different version. I'm reading the Girl Power version. But I do want to give accolades to Inky. I was going to talk about something completely different today. And when I saw your video that you posted on Twitter and on Instagram, I'm like, I got to talk about this because it's my favorite quote. So I had a calling to talk about it. So kudos to, please follow Inky. He probably did a much better job than I do, but he's on stage. I'm in my studio. Here's the quote. Theodore Roosevelt. The title is The Man in the Arena. This title is The Woman in the Arena. It's a little cloudy, so bear with me. It is not the critic who counts. nor the woman who points out how strong the woman stumbles or where the doer of deeds could have done better. The credit belongs to the woman who is actually in the arena, whose face is marred by dust and sweat and blood, who strives valiantly, who errs, who comes up short and short again, because there is no effort without error and shortcoming, but who does actually strive to do the deeds, who knows great enthusiasms, the great devotions, who spends herself in a worthy cause, who at the best knows in the end the triumph of high achievement, and who at the worst, if she fails, at least she fails while daring greatly, so that her place shall never be with those cold and timid souls who neither knew victory nor defeat. So, it's really but first thing I want to say is we all have one life. And I think many of us get to a point in our lives, maybe midlife, where we recognize that time goes on and we have one life. And a lot of us have been through struggles, obstacles in life, and we realize we want happiness and we want to pursue our dreams. So what does that mean? And how do we do that without giving up? And so I think, quite honestly, that a lot of us who have had curveballs, storms, tornadoes, hardships in our life that and we've overcome them, we recognize we only have one life and that we want to pursue our goals and we want to achieve happiness. And we're not going to give up. So this quote is really about being in the arena, trying and trying again and never giving up. And I like to see people I don't like to see people who've had struggles, but I like to see people, I invest and want to spend time with people who never give up, who are on their last dollar, who are on their last, who've had obstacles. Those are the people who really want it bad. I'm an investor. I invest in female founders, and this is why female founders outperform their male counterparts, is because we've had a lot of obstacles, barbed wire fences, arrows, bricks thrown at us. And when you want it that bad, you'll find a way to make it happen. And so it's because of the resilience, it's because of the grit, it's because of the tenacity. And when you see a female founder or anyone who's pursued their dreams, don't assume, you have to assume at this point that it took a hell of a long time to get there and that they went through a lot of obstacles. And one of the things I like about leaders, I like when they publicly state consistently the blocks, the hurdles that they had to overcome, the failures. All these leaders I know talk about how great it is, and oh my God, I just had an exit, and I was a founder and I've made all this money. Talk about the failures. I think it's more, you should tell people that it hasn't been easy, because the people going through it who are getting the curveballs, who are getting the tornadoes, they want to give up. And typically they're going to give up because they think that it's supposed to be like a quick win. And I think it's our responsibility as leaders to talk about some of our failures, to say, hey, this failed, whatever. But this is how I pick myself back up. Like, explain to people, what were the tactics and strategies that you did on a daily basis to pick yourself back up, to not give up? This is how we lead. We lead by telling the truth. We lead by talking about the failures and the wins, but we talk about how we picked ourselves back up. But this quote is about being in the arena. It's about never, ever, ever giving up and trying again. All those slam doors in your face, all the obstacles, all the no's. What did you do here, you know, in your daily actions to pick yourself back up? I'm talking about life obstacles and business obstacles. I'm not talking about just business. I'm talking about both, because it's really hard. It's really hard to self-motivate, and so I'm going to talk about some tips. So I took notes before I started. So as I mentioned before, we have one life. And typically, whether it's in our personal life or professional life, a lot of times our family and friends, and this is normal, and this is fine, but a lot of times our family and friends will encourage us to do or to pursue it, either in our personal life or professional life, what they think is best for us. And don't get me wrong, we should turn to family and friends for guidance, and they've been there for us since day one. But it gets to a certain point where they may think they know what's in our best interest, but that may not be what we want. So I'm going to say that again. Many times when we, in our personal or professional arena, we turn to family and friends, and they give us advice based on what they think is best for us. Typically, 9 times out of the 10, it's really not what's best for us. It's not going to make us happy, and it's really not. Because they have their own perspective of what they think we want. But we get to a certain point in our life where we need to make those decisions. It's like being an entrepreneur. When you present to, let's say, an investor, and you're talking to different investors, I've said this a lot to founders. And I know there's a lot of really good venture capitalists that also say this. When you are getting feedback about your startup from investors, from venture capitalists, and they have an opinion on your business model, they have an opinion on how you should go attract customers, they have an opinion. And I actually, this evening, I'm going to the University of Chicago, and I'm going to be mentoring and coaching and judging, hopefully investing in some amazing founders that are in one of the top pitch competitions in the country. So I'm excited to be in the classroom, but I'm going to be giving feedback to many of these entrepreneurs on their business, on their startup. Now, you should take the advice in, ponder it, and ultimately it's your decision. It's just like when a family member or a friend gives you advice about your personal life, your professional life, where you should live, who you should date, what you should do with your kids. And there's nothing wrong with having their support, but you do not have to do exactly what they say, because you need to make your own decision based on what you think is happy for you, what's going to bring you happiness, and really not what they say. So for example, like if your parents say, when are you going to get a real job, and you're an entrepreneur, this was said to me. And so, they're old school, they're very traditional, they want what's best. Again, really good intentions, want you to have security, want you to be independent, don't understand the entrepreneurial world. And you need to, take that in, assess it, or, you should really be dating this person. This is the environment that you're in. If you date this person, it's going to be better off for you. Again, they're not you. You need to make your own decision. Let's see. The other thing about pursuing your goals is, this is one thing. Let's say you you're listening to a lot of the friends and family, or you think you know what you should do based on society's pressure, based on your parents' pressure of like, this is the role that I should do. This is the person I should date based on what society thinks, based on the environment that I'm in, based on what my parents want for me, based on what my friends are telling me, and based on what I'm used to. A lot of times we do that, or we try to do it, or like, I should get this job. I should be interviewing for a venture capital company. I should be doing this or whatever. And a lot of times, thankfully, we get slam doors in our face or blocks. We're blocked from, or we're on a track that we think is normal, and we get pushed off the track for whatever reason. We have to look at this as a blessing in disguise. It's not our path. And so there's some level of trust that we need to have that, and I think a lot of the times we're redirected. I talk about this before in another podcast on what is our purpose, what is our passion, and what should we be going after. So one of the strategies and tactics that I always tell people, whether you're in business, whether you're in your personal life, is, and I have this written down, the number one thing that you need to do is surround yourself with people. Well, before you do that, I would say, stay true to your values. I think a lot of us start making decisions that are not based on our core values that we were born with. And this, because we are easily swayed by the outside, by society, by clout, by fame, by social pressures, cultural pressures, those pressures sway us, detract us from our core values. And how do we refocus what our core values is? You really need to, sometimes we're pushed off track to figure out, oh, that's right, I remember my core values now. So one of the things that's key to pursuing our purpose, to being happy, to pursuing our mission, our goals, is to stay true to your values. And this goes back to the Dare Greatly quote. Sometimes when we're in the arena and we're getting slam doors, we're getting failures, things are not working out, sometimes we're like, is this the right path for me? Maybe this is not the right path. And I think you're going to know if it's the right path if you are staying true to your values, if you're staying good, if you're staying honest, if you're not lying, if you're not cheating, and so one of the things that happened to me, and this is just, and I'm being quite honest, is you have to be so confident in your value system, your morals, your values, that so confident that you might end up alone. And you have to be so tied to your values that you feel like everyone around you is like they don't share your values. And if you think that that's happening, first of all, you're in the wrong crowd. So you need to have enough strength to be, and this is why I think community and living in the right community is critical to your success. Because if you are maintaining your values, but everyone around you does not align with your values, let's say they're superficial, let's say you're not, and you're living in a community that everybody values big houses and big cars, no one's being honest, everybody's, let's just say it's very superficial, it's all about show. And you deep down are like, I really don't care, I just want to be happy. You need to leave that community. That's not the right community for you. And so you need to leave, but you have to be, the thing about this is you have to be willing. You have to be willing to be alone. It's like, and this is what I went through, it's like being alone and lonely. You have to be comfortable being alone, confident and comfortable. I think I saw this quote on Twitter. powerful people are ones that can be alone, meaning you don't need to have someone, you don't need to have, I mean, there's nothing wrong with having, you have to have the right people around you, the people that align with your values. So the number one thing is when you're in the arena and you're getting slammed doors and obstacles, you need to believe, first of all, you need to be true to your values. You need to be comfortable being alone. And you need to believe that there are other people out there like you. And trust me, at one point in my life, I'm like, oh my, what's happening to this world? Because everyone is so into them. Everybody's greedy. Everybody's into fame and fortune. Everybody's into likes and followers and fake. And let's post the family picture. And no one's happy, but let's just post it anyway because that's what everybody wants to see. This is how I was. I was like, what is happening in this world? And so you have to distance yourself from that and just stay true to yourself. And then guess what? Once you clean house, once you move communities, you start inviting in amazing people that align with your values. And you know how happy life gets? Life gets so happy when you finally start opening up space for amazing people that align with your values. And then you realize, wow, there's great people in this world. I don't know what I was, and then the thing is, the more you stay true to your values and the more you trust your intuition, that's what I have on here, in terms of making decisions and saying no or yes to certain people or saying yes or no to certain people, letting them in your life, you're going to feel stronger. You're going to be happier. And you're going to have more fun working. They're going to help you in your mission or whatever you're pursuing. But it starts with staying true to your values. It's really about living in a community and surrounding yourself with people that have your similar values. It's being comfortable being alone. It's really to be able to, and you have to be really, it takes a lot of strength to do that. And that's when grit tenacity is in full effect. Okay. So I'm trying to keep my word. So the first thing you have to do, if you're in the arena and you're getting bricks, arrows, obstacles thrown at you, and you are questioning, is this my path? The number one thing to determine whether it is or not is, are you staying true to your values and your morals? Number two, who's in your community and who are you surrounding yourself with? I said this on another post. You are the average of the five people you hang out with the most. Number three, you need to trust your intuition. Whether you're accepting someone into your life, whether you're taking a business opportunity, you need to trust your gut. And number four, it's really about being in the arena and having the grit and the tenacity and believing that this is your path, your mission. It's great. So anyway, I just wanted to talk about that. I hope that helps. One of the books I couldn't find, but I wanted to reference, usually on this shelf, I have a book every time I do a talk. I actually got this book from part of Jesse Itzler, who's married to Sarah Blakely. I love saying that. Jesse's awesome. He has a community called Big Ass Calendar Club. It's through Build Your Life Resume. He's a serial entrepreneur, but it's a community of amazing people that it's all about overcoming adversity. And really it's about putting life goals instead of in front of your business goals. So you don't miss out on life, because life passes us by really fast. But during COVID, I had not read books in years. And I literally I think I read a book every couple weeks. But the first book I read, part of one of his community recommended was How to Fight a Hydra. And it has a lot to do with Dare Greatly, the poem Dare Greatly by Theodore Roosevelt. How to Fight a Hydra is about everyone around you saying, it's literally, if you read it, it's like a small little pocket little book that is about a person that's going off in the medieval times to go fight a Hydra, which is like a dragon with all these 8 million different heads. The minute you cut off a head, a new one grows. And a Hydra is like the evilest monster in the world. And this is really a book about entrepreneurship and pursuing your dreams. But this person wants to go off and do this. And in the beginning, they question, let's give it away, but in the beginning, they question whether or not they should, because they're listening to all their family and friends and like, are you crazy? You live in such a great community. You should just stay here. It's so comfortable. You have enough money to survive. You could just rest for the rest of your life and be in. And this person, he or she, is like, maybe I should, maybe they're right, and goes back and forth in their head whether or not they should pursue this challenge. And they end up doing it, and they don't have a lot of riches. They don't have a lot of tools. They don't have all the sexy things that most warriors have. They make their own tools. They're really scrappy. And it's interesting because you kind of read what this person's going through in their mind about self-doubt and what they do to coach themselves out of the self-doubt to be able to defeat this Hydra. And you should really read the book. It's great. And it's quick. You can read it in one night. But what I think, it's a perfect book for this quote, Dare Greatly, because it's really about being in the arena. And when all is said and done, and people have said this before, when all is said and done and they defeat the Hydra and they're back at home, they miss the journey. They miss the journey of how they overcame all the obstacles up here and physically. And, they got all the riches and everything, but it's really about, and no one ever says, like, when you're in the middle of it, when you're in the thick of it, you're like, it's not the journey. Like, this sucks. Like, I can't deal with this. But at the end, when you get the Hydra, you think about how you got there and you're like, wow. And you want to tell your story. You want to share your story. And you want the best thing that we as leaders that have been through the storm, who have found a crafty way to make our tools to create strategies around the obstacles, how we defeated the Hydra. It's to share with the rest of the world how we did it and to encourage others to pursue their dreams. And again, to be in the arena. So anyway, I don't have the books. I can't find it. I think my kids took it. But I just want to encourage everyone to not give up, to pursue your dreams, to not be afraid, to want to fight the Hydra, to be in the arena, and do whatever it takes to pursue happiness. Because again, we only have one life. All right, I'm going to end with my favorite part. Sorry. I usually end True North with a bunch of rapid fire Q&A, and I can't wait to bring people on to be able to do this because I don't know these questions. And it's fun. It's really, really fun. I enjoy doing this. Okay. So these are random questions. Take a sip of my coffee. Okay. If you'd been asked as a high school student what you thought you'd be doing in 20 years, what would you have said? Probably what I'm doing. It's interesting. Most likely, yes, I think I would do something around girl power, something about women empowerment, because I remember I went to an all-girls middle school and high school, Sacred Heart School in Newton, Mass. And there's Sacred Heart schools all around the world. And it's all about women power, girl power, independence, and leadership. And I was president of my high school. I was really into student government. I was a leader on the soccer team. So pretty much how I was in high school, I am now. I'm probably a little bit more experienced in terms of less naive and more savvy, business savvy. I still have an element of believing that there's goodness in everyone. But through hard lessons, I've recognized you have to be cautious, but I still am very optimistic about people. But yeah, I'd be doing exactly what I'm doing. Most likely, if asked in high school, I definitely think in high school, I thought I was going to be in politics. I probably still am most likely going to be in politics. And I thought that back in high school because I'm into student government. I don't really like would I say I love politics? I don't like how corrupt it is. I want to be optimistic about politics. I think it could be cleaned up. But again, I'm not in it, so I shouldn't formulate an opinion until I'm actually in there, in the arena. When friends come over, which game do you love to play? I mean, I think when I was first married, I used to play Cranium. I actually really like Cranium. Cranium's fun. I want to play Cranium again. I would say Cranium. I also like beer pong because I'm pretty good, meaning I don't need to drink a lot. Do big crowds make you feel alone or connected to the world? Can I tell you, I don't know if anyone else experienced this, but I went to my first conference, South by Southwest, a couple weeks ago. It was my first big with a lot of people. I had an anxiety attack, and it wasn't because of COVID. It was because of being so accustomed to being alone and quiet, and being overwhelmed by crowds. I found myself needing to take breaks, like hiding in the bathroom, to be alone, to regroup. And I think that's changed me. I think that I love being in crowds. I love crowds. I love speaking on stage. I love being in crowds. I love parties. But and I think I said this on another post on my Instagram. Personally, my toolbox, my toolkit of what I need to recharge is I need a home base with nature, trees, water, calm, nobody around, isolation. Like I need peace to be able to recharge and regroup, to go back out in the world and to enjoy people, to enjoy crowds. It's something I learned about myself. I think I've slightly changed. It's good. I'm actually a lot stronger when I recharge. If you could create the ultimate dessert, what would it be? I mean, the other night I thought I was at Smith and Walensky's with my kids in Chicago, which is Chicago's the best restaurants ever. And normally, no, maybe that's Hugo's Frog Bar. Hugo's Frog Bar in Chicago has the best mud pie. It's huge. It's like huge. It's all, when I say mud pie, it's not just plain ice cream. It has it has like Snickers, and I would create a dessert like that. It's almost like the Vermonster from Ben and Jerry's that I used to have in college. I don't think they have that anymore. It's like a huge bucket of everything, every ice cream, every Reese's Pieces, peanut butter, M&Ms, whatever, like thrown in there. You can't even see what's in there. It's like one big mess, and you just have like a ladle. You can usually eat it with a bunch of friends. It's a lot of calories. I don't think they have that anymore. What's your most treasured recipe? My grandmother's sauce, Italian grandmother's sauce. It's homemade. I have it. It's amazing. I need to make it. All right. What's the best smell in the world? Oh my God. I was just I was in Michigan. I was in Saugatuck, Michigan by myself. I went for a night just to, again, regroup, chill, get my energy back. It was beautiful. There's hardly anyone there. I love it when there's nobody. I love hotels and resorts when there's no one there. That's when I go away, I don't want to be around people. The whole point is not to be around people. I don't want anybody. Just the waiter. Bring me my drink. Bring me my chips and nachos, my guacamole. Bring me my food. That's it. What was the question? Oh, so I was away and I was in this incense shop. And I walked in and I literally had a flashback before my eyes. I'm like, immediately thought of Mexico. When I was a little girl, we went, they don't do this now, but we would drive from Mexico City to Tosco in the mountains. You don't do that now. And what they would do on the side of it through the mountains, what they do on the side of the road is they burning a special tree. I forgot the name of the tree, but I literally remembered I had a vision of being in this car, hot. And I think my sister threw up. Somebody threw up. I don't know. I just remember being on the side of the road, but the smell. And I asked the guy, the store owner, what is that smell? And he said, it's because I said, it smells like Mexico and burning. Something's burning. He's like, it's a special tree that they burn in Mexico. I don't know why, but they do. How funny is that, right? Okay, this is the last one. I hope everybody has a great week. This is my favorite time of day, is doing my True North. Okay, This is a girl power one. Elizabeth Eliza Hamilton. She was the widow of Alexander Hamilton and co-founder of the Orphan Asylum Society of New York, where she served as director until her retirement at age 91. Together with former First Ladies Dolly Madison and Louisa Adams, Eliza led a women's committee to raise funds for the building of the Washington Monument and was present when the cornerstone was laid. What historic time period would you love to live in? I mean, can I just say, I don't know. I don't know if I'd want to live. Everybody knows I'm into girl power, and like, I don't want to go back in time and live anything in the past because you're restrictive. But let's just pretend that like that wasn't an issue. I've always been obsessed with colonial times. I think it's because when I was a Girl Scout, Troop 4040 in Needham, Mass. We went to Williamsburg, and we also went to like Plymouth Plantation. We were big in learning when we were studying that. And I remember being in Williamsburg with all the, the actors that are acting out, you go into the house and they're making like the stew. And, I remember with my friends talking to these two guys that were like, colonial people, like they were in character. And we're like, do you like rock and roll? I remember, and they're like, what are you talking about? Like, it was funny. Like, we were trying to get them to come out of character. But I learned a lot when I was in Williamsburg. And for some reason, I don't know why, I've always been drawn to that. Maybe because of that experience. But I mean, in terms of women's rights, I don't want to go back. I'd rather go forward. Anyway, guys, happy Monday. Hopefully this was helpful. I can't wait to bring other people on and interview. I'm trying to decide who my first person would be. But anyway, have a great week and tune into True North. Subscribe. Later.